everybody, Martin here, doing another Legacy League. This time around I'm playing a different deck. I am playing the Food Chain combo deck. Here we have Food Chain. If you've any interest in this deck, I did a deck tech that's also on my YouTube channel. I did it a long time ago and it's probably horribly outdated. So I'll just quickly, very briefly run through how this deck works, a couple of the card choices. Basically this is a mid-rangey deck, a bug deck that seeks to play a game plan kind of similar to Shardless Bug. We have Shardless Agent, we have Baleful Strix, we have Deathrite Shaman, and Abrupt Decay. But we also take advantage of the combo between the Food Chain, Mist Hollow Griffin, and, well, basically the combo between those two cards, and then we use that combo to generate an arbitrarily large amount of mana to cast creature spells, and we have Emrakul. And we also have two tutors for Emrakul that are also creatures, so they synergize with the Food Chain. And just quickly, the Food Chain is an enchantment, green 2. It says you exile a creature that you control and add X mana of any one color. And X is the exiled creature's converted mana cost +1. The Griffin can be played from exile, so hey presto, you have a Food Chain, you exile the Griffin to gain 5 mana, because it's the converted mana cost +1. You choose blue, so you generate 5 blue, you recast it for 4, and you just repeat this. And basically, yeah, that's how it works. And we have Force of Will, which is just, obviously we're a blue deck, but Force of Will also has the benefit with the Griffin here in that you pitch the Griffin, so it's not actually card disadvantage. Well, it is kind of still because the card is not in your hand, so you can't brainstorm it away, but and then we have this sweet little tutor that lets you exile 3 cards from your library and then draw a card. So you exile 3 Griffins, and quite often we'll just win. When we win, it won't even be with the combo getting Emrakul, it'll be through like just grinding people down with Mist Hollow Griffin, because as clunky as a 4 mana 3/3 flyer might seem, it dodges Abrupt Decay. Source to Plowshare is just extremely awkward against it, and we can delve it away from our graveyard with our delve spells. These used to be Dig Through Time, so I mean that was better, but we have Murderous Cut and a Gurmag Angler, and also Deathrite Shaman can exile the Griffin from the graveyard, so the Griffin is quite hard to get rid of. So we're not running Wastelands like the Shardless deck is. We're also not running any discard spells or any Planeswalkers. I mean, we could. We're only running 4 Brainstorm and Sylvan Library as ways of like library manipulation. And the sideboard, just quickly, this could be any number of things, or any number of ways you can construct this. I would say that the Food Chain deck, in my experience, is quite strong against like the fair. Well, it's decent against the fair decks. It's quite good against miracles, and it also has quite a lot of game against Eldrazi, which is why I'm playing it right now. Like miracles and Eldrazi, if you're good against those 2 decks, then that seems quite pretty good. It's quite soft to other combo decks, so we have to try and make up for that here. We have the double Flusterstorm, Clique, some discard spells, and I mean for a while I was splashing white in the sideboard to bring in stuff like Meddling Mage, but I've chosen not to do that now because, like, yeah, it was like really good, but I'm not sure it did enough for the cost of like having a white duel in your either sideboard or main deck. Obstinate Bailoff is great against the Shardless deck. I actually think I might need to be running two, but only running one in this league, and my deck is already locked. Yeah, the rest of the cards are pretty like self-explanatory. I kind of lifted the sideboard from another player that I saw on the source. Never tried Knight of Souls Patrol before, but it's been quite good so far. So yeah, I will jump in and do the first. I've already played the first two league matches, so I'll just do commentary over the replay, and then I'll record the final 3 rounds if I can, if I have a chance, that is. So let's just jump in. So here it turned out I was up against Bant Stoneblade, True Name Nemesis. I lost the die roll, so we get this hand, and I think that's fine. It's pretty good. We have double death right. We're kind of soft to wasteland and removal, but only like they need to, like, wasteland alone won't hurt us too much because we have the death right. We have decay as removal. We have like 2 parts of the combo: the empath to get the griffin, or sorry, empath to get Emrakul, and then food chain. So we just need a griffin. So definitely keep this. Our opponent goes turn 1, death right, off Underground Sea. So I guess it's 4-color Stoneblade, but I think the black. I seem to remember them playing like stuff like Noble Hierarch and stuff. I played them before this opponent. They also run days, so we're just kind of risking the days here, but I think like it's not the end of the world if they days. Ah yes, the old Underground Sea Windswept Heath deck. So they're trying to make a 3-drop here, maybe. Yep. Okay, so True Name Nemesis is, it's not like massively problematic without the equipment, but it is pretty nasty, like, because we have no answer to it in the main deck. Only like we just have to win faster, and our deck is a rather slow combo deck. But yeah, so I think here we probably want to, like, we could either decay the death right, but I feel like they've already gotten like the value out of it. We have a death right to combat it and a second death right too. So yeah, either we go decay their death right, play out ours, or we just play Shardless. Suppose we could also go for the food chain here, but that seems less like the thing to do. Yeah, we Shardless Agent into a Baleful Strix, so that's pretty good. And then, you know what we do? I remember this. This was horrible. Like, when you cascade with Shardless Agent on Magic Online, the thing that you cascade into pops up in the exile window, and then you see this box over here on your left that says, right now it like indicates where we are, and I can choose to press OK to move on from our main phase. It asks us if we want to cast the spell, and then the only option is no. Like, it's not yes or no, it's no. And the way you cast it is you click on it, and I accidentally clicked no. So that was like so good, Magic Online. So I chose not to cast my Baleful Strix. So there we go. And I just passed the turn and facepalm myself. So turns out they do have use for a 4th mana, or maybe they're just like exiling to stop our death right from doing anything, which is a good move. So second True Name, so now the beats are real. We kind of have to hope that they aren't sitting on like decay or force of will for food chain, and then we just have to kind of hope to stumble into a griffin. There's a noble hierarch. Alright. Well, there's a force for us. That doesn't really do a lot. I think we just gotta probably play out the food chain. And yeah, just basically we can't really afford to play around them having removal for it. I don't think they run. Maybe they run Made Abrupt Decays, but certainly not that many. Okay, here's Stoneforge. So we're like an attack step away from losing. I think they fetch Sword of Fire and Ice, and they can. Well, I mean, we can try to Deathrite block their Deathrite, and that means they have to draw land. No, wait, they have Noble Hierarch. Never mind. So they can next turn on their main phase. They can get like Violet in and equip Sword of Fire and Ice, and that's all she wrote. So this is like, and we're at a point where, like, if we draw a natural Griffin, and this is all assuming they don't have anything. If we draw a natural Griffin, then we win. If we draw Manipulate Fate, then we need to be able to activate our Deathrite to get a land and generate the blue mana. So what we do here is we try and bait their Deathrite end of turn. I think that's what I did. Yeah, but they don't fall for it. They just let us do it. Which means like we're down to probably just natural Griffin, which we don't draw. But actually, hang on, because what we can do is we can decay the sword, right? How much are they beating us? They have nothing, like, if their second spell is a sorcery, or, oh, sorry, an instant, like a brainstorm, they can brainstorm off the Noble Hierarch and then drain us for 2. That puts us down to 7. Then they still only attack us for 6, but then we can't fetch. So I think, alright, we play a Deathrite, and now we have to fetch. So we're dead to that play. And they do this, which we just have to let happen, I think, to keep up our own Deathrite. They choose not to equip, rather they just swing in. We fetch in response, and this is actually like a pretty big punt, because we open ourselves up to them having like a sorcery or instant they can play out. Well, I guess actually no, because we can just take it in instead. Not sure what I was. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember now. We decay their Deathrite. I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to accomplish with this. I guess actually I'm hoping that they will take my land. Because if they take my land, then they can't like take yeah, no, this play doesn't make that much sense, I don't think. Yeah, well, I decay them now. I decay Deathrite now. That gives me free reign next, like on my turn, to use my mana and Deathrite to not always leave a black and Deathrite, in case somehow like an instant or sorcery finds its way into the graveyard and I need that. But they don't have, either they didn't see the play or they don't have like a way to cast an instant. So we take 6, drop down to 2. And they play out another Deathrite. So now we know the coast is clear. Their last card is the equipment. Alright, so. And we are just rewarded big time. So we get to win. We get to cast Manipulate Fate, tutor up 3 Griffins into exile. And we cantrip as well. With this card it's so good in this deck. It's probably only good in this deck, but in this deck it's extremely good. So now we go off. We exile. Hang on, what did we exile? We exile the Shardless Agent to generate 4 blue and cast the Griffins. And here is where Magic Online like really screws you over. I sold out of this deck at one point because I just didn't find it feasible to play online. Where in paper Magic, what you do is you announce the number of iterations of a loop. You say, I'm going to exile this Hollow Griffin for blue mana and then cast it again, and I'm going to do this 1,000 times, generating X amount of mana, and then I'm going to do it 1,000 more times, generating red mana, and then I'm going to do that until I have 10,000 mana of each color, or whatever. You announce that, your opponent agrees with you. If they don't, you call a judge, and the judge will explain, they will agree with you, and then you have the mana. But here on Magic Online, there is no loop function, so you have to click each time, and that's a bit of an issue. So I think I'm gonna edit all the clicks out, if I can bother doing it. I'm sorry, but it's a bit of a chore, but I'll try to do it so you don't have to watch it. So here I try and shortcut by like casting the empath quickly because they don't know we have it, and showing them Emrakul. But like a lot of people on Magic Online will try to sort of leverage the timer to their advantage. So I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong or whatever. I'm not saying I would never do that, but here I try to see if I can just get them to concede. It does not appear so. But I mean, they're at 18 life, so we basically only need to get enough to cast the Emrakul, because then we drain them once with the Deathrite, and then we can drain them again in our second turn. It seems like I went for also having a Griffin. So here we get to cast Emrakul, and that's the beauty of it. Cast him, so he triggers, you get the Time Walk, or she triggers. And we shift the turn, and that should end the game. Yeah. Alright, so sideboarding wise here, I bring in stuff like a Golgari Charm and Toxic Deluge, I think, to fight the true name Nemesis. I also bring in Null Rod to fight the equipment. I think I cut some number of Baleful Strix, just because like Baleful Strix isn't really that great in the face of true name Nemesis, and that seems to be like their modus operandi. Like it's okay to step in front of a Batterskull, but even that's not like that great of a play. Yeah, so I think that's sort of my plan. I might also have cut the Gurmag Angler. I can't remember for sure, because that's also not terrific against the true name. It's better than Strix, I think, but yeah. Alright, so I'll be back for game 2. Alright, game 2 on the draw, of course. And this is a great hand. Lets us fetch all basics for 1. We have 2 removal pieces for like Deathrites and stuff, and equipments, and we have Toxic Deluge for the true name Nemesis, and Brainstorm to tie it all together. They just go land pass. We draw a Griffin, which is fine. So you have to kind of plan ahead how you're going to fetch here, like, because yeah, we kind of want to be able. They run Wastelands, and we kind of want to be able to get one of each basic. So yeah, just need to plan ahead. So this Polluted Delta is going to be fetching Island most likely for the Brainstorm. But in case we end up wanting to decay on turn 2, then it's going to fetch Swamp. And then Catacombs is going to fetch Forest, and then Misty Rainforest can fetch Island. But I really like to be able to brainstorm and brainstorm and fetch. Sylvan Library is a problematic card, though. We don't want them to have access to that. And we draw Force 1 turn too late. So here we fetch the basics Forest and basic Swamp, and we decay the Sylvan. And I think like you're always just a tiny bit more willing to throw away a Force when you're pitching a Griffin. But if they play True Name, I think we probably just let them because we have the Deluge to answer it. What do they do here? Stoneforge. Yeah, and I think we let Stoneforge resolve. We have Decay for the equipment. If they get Batterskull, we might just decay the Stoneforge, though. It's always a bit like there's nothing worse than removing like either if you counter a Stoneforge and they play another one, or you remove it and then they have another one. That always seems to happen. So they get Batterskull. Okay, so I think we decay it. Let's see here. Manipulate Fate. So we could just cast Manipulate Fate as a bait, because we already have a Griffin, so resolving Fate is less imperative. But I think we'd rather just decay the Stoneforge now before Batterskull comes down and we have to worry about that. Also, like, ideally we brainstorm and have a way to shuffle, but if we don't find another fetch land, then the Fate can shuffle. We don't force the Griffin because we have like force. We keep the force for either like if it's we force a creature, but we can also just deluge away whatever they put on put the GT on. Alright, so Deathrite is a pretty nice draw here. And we brainstorm because we can draw into a fetch. We don't, but we draw some pretty nice cards here. We would really love another land. So what I think we should do is like put back something we want to cascade into, and then Shardless Agent, and then just play out the Deathrite here. Probably the Sylvan Library, and then Shardless, yeah. So, I mean, if they have removal for Deathrite, that's too bad, but it's not the end of the world, and we get to Agent into Sylvan Library. Oh, and we get rewarded for fetching basics, and they have no play. They have 6 cards in hand. I bet they have True Name because they are like, but they're choked on the lands. They don't have double blue. Alright, so let's see here. Shardless Agent. Let's see if I can remember to not click no. We get the Sylvan, and we would love to play that. See, that's what I said, like the no. It's quite annoying. That's what I click because like normally it just says okay here. So I think it's a bit too easy to accidentally make that mistake. But I might just be whining. Alright, so they are doing something in response here. They daze the Sylvan. Or, you know what? Hang on. Store defaults. What are they doing? They daze the Shardless Agent. Okay, that seems random. I exile a land to be able to pay for days because I thought they were targeting the Sylvan. They then choose, with all this on the stack, they choose to force the Sylvan with the True Name. pitching a true name. So I think the days was a misplay. I'm not sure though, but we're paying for it. I mean, why not? Alright, so they found their second blue, their turn, and they play out a true name. They have 2 cards left in hand, which means I think I'm happy just 1-for-1ing here with Deluge, even though it would be nice to get some more stuff. But we draw a cut for as a rule for another creature if they find something to put the GT on, and we also just have like force with the Griffin. So I think this is pretty neat. I think we put back okay, we put back the cut and the Bayou. Guess we don't feel like we need the cut. It would be nice to keep it, but yeah, probably like we can manipulate fate, and then now we have like full basic access, and we're able to just chain cast Griffins each turn. And yeah, just get in for 1 and pass the turn. They have a second true name. We're definitely forcing that, but they've already cast 1, pitched 1. So, all right, they just pass the turn, and we decide to brainstorm at end of turn because we want to use all our mana to cast the Griffin. Oh, Null Rod is excellent as like backup for the GT, and we find the Murderous Cut again. So we just draw a Deathrite. Here I decide to strike while the iron's hot and get the Griffins, because we kind of just want to keep this 1 Griffin we have in hand. And well, we cantrip into a Decay, which is excellent. Here we play out the Null Rod and play out a Deathrite. We're overcommitting a bit, but I don't think they're running sweeper effects in their deck. And they just concede. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty cool. I lost to this deck in a previous league. Like true name can definitely be a massive issue with an equipment on it, but yeah, that's true for most fair decks. And yeah, I don't know. I just think we drew better than them here in game 2, and we got a bit lucky in game 1. So that's how it can go sometimes. So I will jump into round 2. Alright, so round 2. And here we were, it turned out, up against Charlotte, not Charlotte, Bug Delver. And we lost the die roll. We get this hand, which is yeah, it's pretty good. Have a good creature, we have removal, we have the greatest spell in the deck. I think Bug Delver is like the Delver deck I most want to play against. I mean, it sucks that they have Abrupt Decay for our food chain, but they are the least aggressive of the Delver decks, I think. And that gives us the highest chance of reaching the mid game, where we start to do better than them. Like the Griffins are just a massive problem for them because they can't decay them, so they're only removal spot, and we can just chump block with them and exile them and stuff. So anyway, yeah, they mulligan down to 6 and go Underground Sea, Deathrite. So here, like, it's either obviously it's Bug Delver or Sharpless Bug, or I suppose the mirror match, but that's not very likely. So they didn't play a fetch land, and I drew a black Bruising land, so I don't have to fetch either, so I just go ahead and do the same. It's better not to give them a land in the graveyard. So they have Decay for our Deathrite, and then they just swing in. So I think we're just going to do the same. So you're the Emrakul, which is obviously a bit of an awkward card in our, like, kind of like a card we don't want to be sitting on unless we're ready to combo off. But we do have like the Griffins here with Fate. We just need to just draw Food Chain, I guess. But yeah, so we're up against the Wasteland deck, and we've decided to commit to not playing, to just playing duels. But I mean, if they had Wasteland, they would have wasted us last turn and then decayed using their Death Right to grab a land. Alright, so they ponder here, and I'm not sure if they shuffle or what. Oh, it doesn't say. Sometimes it says on the replay what happens, and sometimes it doesn't. It's been annoying in the chat here. Regardless, they ship the turn. We find a Fierce Empath, which is actually, like, after we started playing Gurmag Angler, that's not a bad draw in versus a deck like this. But here we play out the Manipulate Fate, so we can play around days. A lot of people, if they know what this deck does, will seek to counter this card almost as much as they will seek to answer Food Chain. But we are allowed to do it. We grab 3 Griffins and we draw Force, which is just also a bit awkward here. So here they brainstorm and just pass the turn. So that's, maybe they're just finding like counter spells and cantrips or removal. So we're just drawing more lands here, which is a little bit annoying. We fetch, and it turns out they're a Stifle build, which is I don't know. I've never liked Stifle in Bug Delver very much. Like, I feel like Stifle needs to be in a deck that can also play Reach and is faster. Like a faster Delver deck, so like one with red, but they have Stifle, so we just play out our basic and pass the turn. We don't want to test our luck and play out another fetch line here. But actually, no, we think better of it and we decide to cast our Fierce Empath, because if they do have days, we'd rather have them use it on this, as we already have the Emerald Coal. If they don't, fine, we get the Gurmag Angler. And we can cast that bad boy next turn. Maybe we even get lucky and draw like a blue card. So here they play a Goyf, which is a 4/5. And what we actually, I think, end up doing is we play out Griffins here, and just like, if they have removal for them or counter them, then we can delve them out of the yard with the Angler later. Okay, so they brainstorm. They waste our only black source. And the only other, like, we have access to another black source, but it's a Delta, and they are sitting on they might be sitting on Stifle. They probe, and then just swing in, I guess. Yeah. And we block, we chump. We're not using the Empath anymore. Giving them a creature in the yard doesn't add anything, because there's already a Death Right. And, I mean, it doesn't add anything to the Goyf. So they ponder, and we get a blue card, which is great. So here we play out a second Griffin, but they daze it, and I don't think we force here. I think we can afford to take a couple of beats off the Goyf. What I kind of want to do is get 2 Griffins in, and then just chump the Goyf and trade a Griffin for a Goyf. So here we can attack, because we're not just sacrificing a Griffin by itself. So they push in, we drop down at 13. They have cast a lot of cantrips this game. Okay, Sylvan Library, good, but probably too late to the party. Okay, so we cast the second Griffin and just pass the turn. And they ponder yet again for like the 3rd time. Cast triple ponder, triple brainstorm. And they are attacking with their Goyf. And here we get in the way. So now we can, if we can fetch this swamp without, or this delta without having it stifled, then we can cast Gurmag Angler and in doing so, delve out 2 griffins into exile, which is going to be nice. Especially now because it turns out it's just going to be a straight up race. They have True Name. We can force it, but I think we're just going to win this race, right? Oh, okay, well, I don't risk it, I guess. I think it would have been okay, actually, just to not do that. And just let it resolve, but yeah, maybe not. So, as they are tapped out, we get to fetch safely, and we just take the 2 griffins out into exile, and we play out. We just play out and say screw it if they have days. And now we just have like a pretty neat clock. We actually just have them dead. They need to find a chump blocker. They don't. They just pass turn. We draw a blue card for a force, which is just it's really nice. And bang, they're dead. So sideboarding wise, I don't board a lot against the Delver decks. They had True Name, so maybe I bring in like Golgari Charm, but probably not, because I think True Name is not more than like a 1-up or a 2-up at max. They don't have Pyromancer or anything else that I can grab with Golgari Charm. I think I board in Obstinate Bailoff, because that's just, I mean, it's 4 mana is a bit much, but your life total is put under pressure by Delver, and they could be running like Liliana or him, and yeah, so that's pretty great. Don't think I really bring in a whole lot else. This is definitely, we can't keep this. We have no play unless we draw a second land. They both run Stifling Wasteland, so yeah, definitely not. We mulligan. They keep their 7. This is okay. But this is fine. And I think we scry the Brainstorm to the top. So they go turn 1. Deathrite, sure. And here is the eternal question: do we play around Wasteland or do we play around Stifle? I'm guessing they don't have Stifle, because if they did, they are likely to lead with land go. Here they ponder. And they don't have green, they have the Deathrite. Okay, so they Thoughtseize us here. Oh yeah, I remember what happened here. Here we could have brainstormed, but I actually just preferred not to, because there isn't like one card in this hand that I'm really that worried about losing. They take the food chain, and then they just, like eager little puppy, they just zerg it with surgical extraction. I mean, that's obviously not ideal for us, but I've like the way this deck has evolved. Like there was a time, like maybe 2 years ago, when I was playing this deck, where like it was pretty much all in on the food chain combo, and it ran Ancient Tombs to cast it faster, and it ran like Wall of Blossoms, Wall of Roots, and stuff like all these janky creatures. But and then like it would have been it was really bad if you had your food chain taken out, because it was pretty hard to win without the food chain. But like as you saw last game, we didn't even need the food chain. So I'm not like horribly discouraged when this happened. Frankly, I think I would be more annoyed if they had Thoughtseize to Strix and then extracted. Yeah, so they take our food chain, and here they fetch with actually the Deathrite, and I decide that I want to fetch in response, just to get around the Stifle, and we brainstorm. And we see some pretty good cards here. So we decide to put back the fetch land and the agent, just in case like they have a second Thoughtseize or whatever. They have Delver. They play out Delver. They know we have double Strix, but yeah. So here I think we decay the Deathrite. Now they don't have green mana, so they don't have. But they draw decay. They flipped a Deathrite with decay. They don't have green mana. You'd assume they would have played green mana last turn if they had it instead of playing like Underground Sea. So they swing in. They don't make a land drop, so decay on that Deathrite was pretty neat. So here I decide to play out the Strix just cause, oh sorry, the agent, just because like we're not under that much pressure. And agent shows us Deathrite, and we cast Deathrite, so that's pretty good. So here we're basically just playing out like a shardless agent, a shardless bug deck. Okay, they have second Insectalab or Delver of Secrets. That could potentially be troublesome, but like a champion, we draw a Murderous Cut. So we play out a Strix here, draw Brainstorm. I think we just play out the second Strix, hope they don't have days. They don't. And we just get in there with the agent. They don't flip their Delver. I actually would rather they flip Delver than they draw a land, which is what they do. But it's a wasteland, so it's not too bad. And they have True Name. That could potentially be a bit of an issue. Like, I think we need to manipulate fate for the Griffins and start doing that. It's probably not too bad because we have a bit like an equally fast clock here. If we just Deathrite and Shardless Agent them each turn, that's assuming that they swing with the Insectile Aberration. We trade with the Strix, or we can like be exiling creatures for a little bit with Deathrite to not drop too low from the True Name. It's not great though. Okay, so we brainstorm into force Misthallen Griffin and Deathrite. I think here we want all this more or less, so we put back the manipulate fate. We want the second Deathrite, and we want to Murderous Cut one of these Delvers, I think. We just let them pass the turn here. They again do not flip Delver, and that means they drew like they drew a land, Tropical Island. So now their Abrupt Decay is live. They waste us, and we drain them in to use our black mana. So they decay our one Delver, one Deathrite, which is a bit annoying. And they swing through with the True Name. And here, end of turn, we decide to Murderous Cut one of their Delvers. And we draw the Manipulate Fate from before, and that just resolves. And we exile a 2 Griffins, because we only have 2 left. We sideboard at one of our Griffins. And then we exile also one of the Manipulate Fates. We don't really want to be drawing any more of those. Although maybe it's better to. Normally I would probably exile like lands, but not in the Delver matchup. So here we just swing in with Agent and 1 Strix. That's potentially a bit like loose if they flip Delver with another Decay, then they can decay the Strix, swing in for 6. Drop us down to 3. We eat a creature with Deathrite, we're up to 5. I think we're still winning that race. They flip it with Force. It turns out they just had the decay from before. So they were sitting on 2 decays. Okay, so they swing us down to 3. And so what do we do here? We we eat a creature, go up to 5. Draw Baloth, which is just excellent. Rather play Baloth than a Griffin, I think. I think we should have attacked with Death right here. We didn't. So play Baloth, gain 4 life. Yeah, Wasteland, whatever, doesn't matter. Now they have to sit back on True Name. Because if they don't, I think even if they, I think they have to sit back with both creatures. Yeah. But I think, do we just get them here? Like, so, no. Guess, well, I mean, if we tag with both these, and they have to block both of them. Right? Because if they allow the Shardless Agent to go through, he'll drop down to 4, and then they're dead on my next turn. Well, I guess that's not what I had in mind. So I just play out a Griffin. Oh yeah, alright. So this works too. If they don't block both, then they take 3 from the Griffin next turn and then 2 from the Deathrite. They decide to. This is just a perplexing block. So they decide to lose their Insectile Aberration to trade with the Baloth, and then just take 2 and effectively be dead. Like, the only thing that saves them here. No, nothing saves them here. Like, we know the 1 card in their hand is Force, and they just drew a second, so even if it's a decay, they decay to the Deathrite, then we swing in with Strix Griffin, that's 4. Decay the Strix, then we eat with Deathrite. So yeah, that was pretty neat. So that means we are 2-0 in the league. Now, having done these replayed matches, we can jump into an actual live game. We've been paired, and again we're on the draw. Let's see what we're up against. This is a very vulnerable keep if we decide to keep. But I think we do. We have our draw step to find the second land, and they don't have removal for Deathrite, then it's pretty good. Okay, so Windswept Heath into Savannah. This smells like Maverick. Alright. Well, okay, great. So we find a second land. I think we're going to fetch basics here, because Maverick definitely runs Wasteland. We're gonna, like, this feels like an opening out of Elves. If I'm them, I probably think that I'm a Advanced Elves player. If they have Plowshares for our Deathrite, that's a bit of an issue, because then we either have to fetch a non-basic with our Catacombs to be able to get to blue. In either case, we won't be able to cast Strix next turn. Okay, so they have Stoneforge. That's not great. Guessing they're bringing Jite because they're up against a creature deck. So we'd really like to draw Decay here, I think. So, what to do. We either play Shardless Agent, or we brainstorm. I think we brainstorm here. Using the Deathrite so that we have our fetch land. Well, that was somewhat uninteresting. I kind of want to hang on to both the Griffin and the Empath because I feel like if we're going to win this, we probably will have to win through the combo. So we can put back the Underground Sea, and I guess what, the Strix? Get the Swamp. Our problem here is if they have even like one more mana, they could just hard cast the GT and equip. They might be like they might respect force enough to not do that, but yeah, no. They're just like, whatever. So they equip it on the Stoneforge and attack, and we just have to take it. They will kill one of our death rights. Yep. Nothing we can really do about that. Alright, well, I mean, the good news is, as things stand, we just win if we draw Food Chain. So we really don't want to cast the Griffin or the Empath yet, because we don't want them to see that we're on Food Chain, because that might prompt them to use, like, a Green Sun Zenith for Kazali Pride Mage when they would otherwise use it for something else. So casting Shardless Agent is a bit of a risk because the Cascade will, like, they might see. Yeah, they most certainly reveal two Food Chains and Emrakul. So if they're looking at our exile pile, the good news is we found Decay, so we can take the G-Tang, which is really cool. So the jig is somewhat up. So we'll just have to kind of hope they don't. Sword of Fire and Ice, really? That's annoying. So I think we block with a Death Ride here because it'll just get shot down and they will have drawn a card. What? They didn't attack? Why on earth not? Oh well. So see if we can get lucky one more time. Go on, Decay. No, second Death Ride. Yeah, that's fine. What else was exiled? Murderous Cut would have been nice. Alright. So I have no clue why they didn't attack last turn, because the Shardless Agent can't block. Okay, so I guess. Wait, is there any? Yeah, I guess we exile our creature just to gain some life to have more turns. They'll waste our drop here, but it doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Well, in this case, we're getting hit hard. We're gonna get hit for 6. Or for 4, and they'll probably shoot one of our agents. So now we're like getting to one where we kind of have to find a food chain. Post haste. Yeah, Caracas doesn't matter. What do they have? Yeah, alright. So they'll find Pride Mage, and we effectively have to find removal for that. Which we doesn't, or sorry, which we don't. What we can do actually here, this means that we won't be able to go for the means we won't be able to go for the Emrakul, but what we could do here is we could Fierce Empath up a what's it called? The Gurmag Angler. The Gurmag Angler doesn't like sword can't attack through that. The problem is they have double exalted, so they'll get to be a 5/6. But yeah, it still might be what we want to do. So I guess we just get in there with this. If they have the third plow, then we're kind of screwed. For the time, well, I guess we're kind of screwed either way, but for the time being, we probably want to get in front of the Stoneforge Mystic with our Fierce Empath next turn, and then hope to find like a plow, sorry, no, like a decay for the sword. So yeah, trading this little guy here. Yeah, sure. Don't get to waste that. Now what? Greensons? Yeah, for night probably. Strix doesn't really help us a lot here. Might draw us toward a decay. I don't know. I think we've lost this. I don't see what is going to save us. GT. Wow, they're playing 2 GTs? Well, I guess we forced that. So I guess we just take this. I mean, that's 7 damage. Unless they decide to shoot something. If we don't, like, if we block with the angler, then we're just like, how valuable is the angler to us? I think we're just gonna let it go through. I guess there's a world where we brainstorm into food chain. Emrakul. But yeah, nah, that won't work because they have Pride Mage. And they draw Thalia, just for good measure. Alright, we're just going to concede to sideboard. So this is not my favorite matchup with this deck, but let's see. We have some tools here. We have the Golgari Charm, we have Null Rod and Pithy Needle, we have Dread of Night and Toxic Deluge, and do we want probably Knight of Souls Betrayal? So we probably can cut a Griffin, cut a Manipulate Fate, cut a Fierce Empath. Like everything else I kind of want, right? Maybe we can cut a Food Chain, just not be all that focused on the combo. Still leaves us with 2 cards to cut. This might seem really silly considering they are a creature deck, but I think we can cut 2 Baleful Strix because we were running both Golgari Charm and Knight of Souls Betrayal, and like, I don't know, man. Strix is good to trade with a Knight. Sheesh, I'm not sure. How many blue cards now? 4, 6, 8, 11, 14, 18. Maybe we cut a Force instead of a Strix. Alright, so on the play, of course. Oh. Can we keep this? So like, we have Force blue card. Like if we draw any other land, we have a lot of options. And we have Dread of Night. The issue is like with Dread of Night is I don't think the right play is to go Swamp Dread of Night, because if they're sitting on like Mother of Runes, Noble Hierarch, we want them to play out the Mother of Runes. But I think I'm going to be greedy or risky. Risk, what's the word when you're not risk averse? I'm going to keep it here and see if we can get somewhere. Swamp Go is a little bit, I think, telling of a dodgy hand. Come on, Mother. Oh, not too bad. Dried Arbor. Come on, land. No? Emrakul. That's what you want when you're screwed. Oh, no. Ah, oh, man. Should have played out the Dread here, because if they go Thalia, then we can't even play it. But I F6'd. Yeah, alright, Knight. Knight is good. Maybe I should have forced Knight, but we... Oh, come on. We have Decay, was what I was going to say. Alright, well. We'll play out this one. I think if they had Thalia, they would have played Thalia over Knight. In the world where we are like missing land drops. Okay, so we're definitely forcing this. Yeah, ooze is fine. They don't attack with night. I guess they want to be able to wasteland us. Ah, life is hard. Yep. You have a big night. Yep. Wow. All right. Sure. I think we need to go non-wasteland. Like we have to go non-wastable land, food chain. When is that even quick enough? Well, so let's see here. We fetch down to 16. The next turn they beat us for. Night is going to be 5. Ooze is 7 plus 4 is 11. The thing is, like, if we don't fetch island, it'll get wasted. If we fetch island, we can decay something. Caught between a rock and a hard place. I think we are going to cast Manipulate Fate here to cantrip, hopefully into a land. It's not a land. So our other option was to decay the knight, losing on land, or decaying the GT, losing a land. But like leaving either one left back is going to be a huge problem for us. Here they can even boost the knight to a 9/9 if they want to. They can decay, like waste 2 over their own lands, and then swing for that. They actually have lethal on us if they see it. Because then they swing with the Arbor for 1. They swing with the Ooze boosted to 6/6 with the GT counters. That's 7 plus 9 from the Knight is 16. I don't really think it's like an incorrect move at all, because, I mean, tapped out. What am I going to do that change that? It might seem a bit sort of scary for them to lose all of their lands left except for the Dried Arbor, but they might just be working it out right now. Alright. So I guess they just want to boost the Ooze with the Dried Arbor, because that's another way of doing it. Yep. So that's 12 damage. Yeah, so that was another way to do it. Alright, so that was pretty quick and pretty painful. And the good news is I have time for one more.